Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk about fleets and ships. As you guys know, the ship showdown just concluded and the F8 is the official winner with a new golden ticket event going on right now, if you guys weren't aware. And there is a bit of drama surrounding that, and it kind of inspired or sparked this video and kind of this question. Kind of the question is, how many ships is too many ships? Now, CAG releases a number of ships every year. Uh, Specialty ships, limited hull ships, ships of all different kinds. And we know from the recent progress tracker update that there are more unannounced ships coming. Of course, every year, CIG will release new ships because that's essentially how they make their money. It's how they're able to develop the game and have the community support it. Now, there are some types of ships that the game does not have yet that I think would be very interesting to have in the game. And we can see uh, uh, a fleet like this behind me. This is not my fleet. This is a fleet that I found on our Star Citizen fleets. And it is essentially a subreddit where you can go and you can talk to other people about their fleets. People share images of their fleets here. This is using a software called Fleet Manager. I'll leave a link to it in the video description below. And I kind of, first off, want to preface this video by saying this is no judgment to anybody. That's not the point of this video at all. You work hard for your money. You can do anything you want with it. Buy as many ships as you want. But I do want to pose the question because the game is changing and there are different features in the game that will either make it more difficult to have large fleet like this and features that would make it easy to have fleets like this. And there are still some ship archetypes that I think that the game could take advantage of. Of course, we talked about crafting one of the previous videos, and that is a kind of ship platform that we don't really have a lot of ships of. So there is, in my opinion, a lot of room still to make those types of ships and those types of vehicles. I want to use this as an example, and again, I don't know this player's specific intentions, um, but this really kind of looks like an orc fleet in my personal opinion. You see a lot of duplicates. They have a lot of arrows here. They have a lot of hornets here. They have, of course, they have a javelin. They have some krakens. They have a reclaimer. Obviously, after a battle is over, their intention is probably going to be to use this to kind of clean up the battlefield afterwards. They have Idris. They have a Polaris for the bait. They have a, Polaris for the torpedo. They have a Pioneer for the base building. They kind of have a lot of these ships that kind of seems like they would be geared towards military. And again, you can see they have a lot of Ursa medevacs and that type of stuff, logistic stuff, military stuff. It looks like their fleet is essentially an entire org in one fleet. So the way that I think CAG wants to approach it is that one player has maybe a javelin, and then other members of the org has a hornet. So you one member might have a hornet, one member might have an arrow, one member might have an F7, an F8. With the Idris, you have Idris, you have an NPC crew, you have NPCs flying these ships, or you have your friends flying these ships. And so you have the ability, even right now, or, will have the ability to spawn all of these ships, put them in your ship, and then have all of your friends load in on their ship and they can fly um your hornets or whatever. But you essentially have to go in and just unlock the ship for them, and they'll be able to fly it around. uh and instead of them having to own a hornet, they could just fly yours. I think that that's not entirely CIG's intention. I think the intention is again to have people with Hornets team up with people with Idrises to kind of go out and do content versus, you know, one player having all of the ships needed for an org. And you know, is a fleet like this realistic? Again, I want to preface this video by saying there's absolutely no judgment from me for people who have large fleets like this. That again, the I want to make this video because I do think that CIG's uh going to have to unlock some features for the player base before we could really see people with fleets like this you know, come into practicality, to have like a practical application for their fleet in the game. You know, obviously you would go out and have, you know, a long list of fleets that of ships that you could choose from, and there are benefits to it. Like the player base in the early days especially saw it as an opportunity to have you know, that consistency across wipes, especially early on. I think that um there was a lot of benefits for buying multiple ships. These benefits included, you know, you would have an extra hangar allocation. Again, all of these ships here, if they're not some type of specialty ship, because I do believe there are some that didn't come with a hangar, but you know, if most all of these ships come with a hangar, this person has a lot of hangar slot allocations. Now, is there a world where, you know, CIG limits that? Like saying, okay, a player can realistically have, if you are a player like this, and you know, I haven't gone through and counted every ship in this player's hangar, but let's say there is 50 ships here. Uh, if CIG says that, okay, there's a hangar allocation lock or limit at about 50, one player account cannot have more than 50 hangars. If you have 100 ships in your fleet, then realistically, if you have 100 hangar allocation slots, you would have 100, you would have the ability to have 100 hangars in the PU. Um, whether it was one of those things where, you know, you can only have one hangar per landing zone, and the other hangars would have to be scattered throughout the star system. I don't know exactly how the hangar system is going to evolve, is basically what I'm saying. Right now, uh, to streamline that process, CAG has made it to the point where you only have one hangar at your home location. And again, that simplifies all of that. And again, for most players, this is not a big deal because they have, you know, 3 to 5 ships. This is kind of only an issue when you get to the much larger accounts like this, where you have so many hangar slot allocations that you know, a player like this could you know, have hangars all over the star system, and there really isn't any you know, weight to the decision of making your home in one place, is basically what I'm saying. If you have a lot of large ships and you have a lot of hangar slot allocations, you could essentially just have a home hangar at just about every location in the game, and you wouldn't have to put the thought into, you know, moving around space in a meaningful way, because you know, you could essentially say, okay, I'm going to put guns here, I'm going to put suits here, and every single place I go I have everything I need. I don't really have to worry about bringing anything with me. Second is, we don't really know what the hangar sizes are going to be for these allocations. Now, right now, because hangar is based on your home location, CHG has made it so where your largest ship is the size of that hangar. But in a reality where hangar allocations uh, is fully implemented, uh, will these hangar allocations refer to the size of the ship that they're relating to? So, for instance, if you have a Polaris that comes with a hangar, you know, that hangar is obviously going to be the size of the Polaris. And if you have an Avenger, let's say you have a Polaris and an Avenger, so you have one hangar slot that is an extra large and one hangar slot that is a small, because you have an extra large ship and a small ship. And in that sense, of course, it would make sense. But as the player, you'll have to look at it in the point of, okay, if I use my small hangar slot allocation at New Babbage, I can't land my Polaris there and get all my stuff. I would have to use a public hangar and then go to my Avenger small size hangar to get my stuff. Or maybe I would have to just take a small ship to that location. So again, there is some, gameplay things and logistical things that CAG have to think about and consider when it comes to the hangar slot allocations. Aside from persistence and, having the hangar, is the insurance. Now, strictly speaking, the way that it works in game right now is that, you have uh, a ship and it blows up, you just go to the insurance terminal and you claim it. We don't know exactly how insurance is going to work moving forward. Now, a lot of people who have these ships on their store account or large accounts like this, they like to have these ships with LTI or lifetime insurance. So they can essentially not worry about whatever insurance system CAG puts in place. So if CAG releases an insurance system where, okay, you have to pay a premium. And again, I have no idea what that's going to look like. Maybe it's game time or something like that. Or maybe it's, star system cycles, a star cycle. Maybe it's a week or a month, or I don't know. But a kind of, how do I explain this? So the first system would be like insurance works today in the real world, where you pay in case of an accident. That's why it's called insurance, right? A pay after system would be, or an afterpay system is, if you get into an accident, then you pay in monthly installments. So the first system would be you pay in, increments. And if you get in an accident, you don't have to pay a big sum because you've been paying over the course of this time previously. A pay after system is essentially when you get into an accident, then they break the payment of that up into small payments. So you go to the kiosk, you claim your ship, and then you have to essentially pay in increments. Okay, so that's an afterpay type system. Or they can implement another system where it's like a percentage system. So this is, you go out and you do a mission and you get money. A percentage of that now has to go to the insurance company or something, until you pay off the money you owe for fixing up your ship. Okay, so there are many different insurance avenues that CIG can go down to make the insurance system make sense and be deep and immersive and engaging and whatever. But for a lot of the people who have LTI, they would kind of circumnavigate this. So for the way it is in game now, there's a lot of concerns about multi-crew and if a player is going to be able to solo a large ship like the Javelin or the Kraken, you know. or the Polaris or the Pioneer. And it's becoming, more and more obvious that it is going to be more difficult. Uh, CAG hasn't spoken too much about NPC crew in a while, not in any meaningful detail anyway. And I think that they're still trying to navigate what that looks like for the players in terms of fairness and uh, kind of in terms of, everything that that's going to entail. Like, I believe I talked about this in a previous video, but just to, kind of step back for a second and think about what that workflow looks like. Where are the NPCs going to start from? Let's say, okay, they've stated in the past before that they're changing the way the spawning system is going to work, right? But let's say that you spawn in your hab at New Babbage, for instance, and you want to go take your Idris out with your NPC crew to do some mission content, right? This is just a scenario, random scenario. Uh, where the NPCs coming from? Do the NPCs live on your Polaris? Do the NPCs live in New Babbage? Do you have to go around the star system and pick up your NPC crew before you go on a mission? Do you have to pay them? Do you have to feed them? Do you have to gear them? What are, their pay scales gonna look like? Is it gonna be like a percentage scale of the mission content that you do? Do you have to pay them, you know, terms based on some type of contract? Is it some type of lump sum payment? Or is it some type of, okay, you pay them every so often? Um, Really, I think that there's a lot of layers there to unpack to try to figure out how that's really gonna look like. And realistically, more than likely we're gonna get AI blades first before full NPC crew. Um, because that's just easier. You don't have to worry about NPCs walking around and doing stuff, and you don't have to worry about the server rate and NPCs glitching or falling through your ship. I mean, imagine you're flying around, and you're walking around your ship, and you go into quantum, and half your NPC crew just falls out the bottom of your ship. And you get to your location, and like, where did everyone go? So I think there's a lot that CAG has to kind of iron out and try to understand better before we realistically get even a tier 0 of that. But AI Blades is a lot easier. You could just essentially have like a turret controlled by the same AI that does the AI Hammerhead and the AI Idris and stuff like that. You don't really have to worry about putting bodies in seats. And so you really have to wonder, okay, now we need the content for that, for the players that have these large fleets to come out into full force and take advantage of them. We know that CIG is very dead set on silver meshing and 4.0, and they're really pushing to get it out this year. I hope they do. But with that, the main thing that the player base is really looking for is that improved server capabilities, the abilities that will improve NPCs, AI, ships, and more importantly, the max player base. Now, right now, we still are at 100 players. So with silver meshing, we're hoping that goes up even to 200, right? So they did tests, and it was pretty good at that number. 400, 800 was really difficult. 800 didn't really work. So I think that that's kind of the biggest outliner that we're really waiting for, right? Is to see the gameplay possibilities for these larger ships, for these larger fleets come online with 4.0. Realistically, I don't think that, there is any fleet that is too big, but for the average person who has 3 to 5 ships, that's gonna be, in my opinion, that's gonna be what most people stay at around until we really know more about the game. And you know, CAG keeps releasing more ships. Obviously, they're going to want to attract new players with that. So they're going to want to try to focus on quality of life. They're going to want to try to focus on gameplay, different things to get those new players in the game, because a lot of us older backers cannot have fleets like this. You know, having 5 million people with a fleet like this is kind of game breaking, right? So if they do have to continue releasing more ships and having people buy you know, all of these ships and having these big fleets, they're really going to have to find a way to balance that. They're really going to have to find a way to make gameplay for that. Most people had between 3 to 5 ships, and I think that's realistically what most people are going to stick around. Is this too many ships? I don't necessarily think so, but I think it's too many ships right now for the current state of the game. I think that you know, we will learn more as time goes on, as 4.0 rolls out, and we see how many players that enables us to have on a server. You know, when we learn more about insurance, when we, you know, get more org tools, these types of things, when they come online, then these fleets are really going to come into their own. Okay, right now it's just really kind of too early to tell, but I know probably a lot of people's opinion is that they really don't want to go over 10 ships because the future's kind of uncertain right now. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to enjoy. So, you know, I'm excited. I think Ship Showdown was a lot of fun. I think a lot of people in the community did actually enjoy it, aside from, you know, the light drama. And yeah, I'd like to hear from you guys. But that's it for the end of this video for me. Like I always say at the end of these videos, you guys, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Salute.